if you have had a lovely time in the last weeks and the last classes, please just give a thumbs up. Let's just give a thumbs up to indicate that you have had a lovely time. Okay. So today is week 3, and we are going to be looking at interview preparation. And our speaker is already here. So I'll just do a brief introduction of him and we can just start up. Okay. So Mr. Nikori is a seasoned management consultant with over 2 decades of experience. He leads in the Interact Limited, which is a lead HR and consulting and training firm accredited by the Nigerian Council of Management Developers. He has built a strong reputation in talent development, staff recruitment, and capacity building across diverse industries, supporting corporate organizations and global institutions and individuals. As a facilitator, he brings a wealth of knowledge and industry techniques that will help candidates overcome and confidently navigate recruitment processes and stand out in competitive job markets. So I will just hand over to Mr. Nikori now. He will just start and take over. So let's just give a round of applause to him. Let's give a
good evening. Good evening. Good evening, all participants. Are we together? Good evening, all.
Good evening, sir.
Okay.
Good evening.
Just give me about 2 minutes. Okay. Once again, good evening, all participants. Let us look at the theme of today, talking about preparation for interview. From my experience so far about interview selection to select people that are most seen as suitable or competent for a job, oftentimes people just look at issue of skill. The two sides oftentimes interviewers and employers want to look at are usually the skill and the character of the applicants. And these are what have oftentimes been expanded. That of the skill is, that is more direct and it can be more easier. But that of the character, we bother on behavior, it can be very tricky. And that is where you require some technicalities. And that is often the area most job seekers find difficult to unravel because there are usually reasons why certain questions are asked. So just understand that first and foremost, the employer wants the best. Interview is competitive. The simple reason you conduct interview is not just for the sake of it. You conduct interview to pick the best available. And the process of picking the best entails both behavioral and aptitude. So the emphasis here is not just looking at the behavioral, but also the other side where you have to your skill have to be tested. Understand something that even in school, the certification you obtain from school, the school assume or presume that you have been prepared in these two areas, that is the skill side and the character side. Like somebody asked me, how does the school prepare you in terms of your behavior? Well, the school condition you, subject you to certain conditions that make you to acquire or imbibe certain behavior. They are not going to say, don't do this, like what perhaps you've seen in lower academic level. But in higher institutions, they subject you to certain conditions you must adhere to. So over time, you get yourself, acclimatized to such condition, and so you just have to be seen to be exhibiting such character. For instance, in school, you are not expected to fight, no matter the art of provocation. If it's brought to the knowledge of the institution, you are gone. And so people, run away from anything that will involve physical combat. And so it's one way by which you are being conditioned. And so school look at the two sides of skill, giving you the skill through learning and conditioning you by ensuring that you acquire the right and acceptable character. So these are the two ways. And that is why during graduation, they tell you have been found worthy in learning, which presume that you have acquired certain skill you can use to explore your world. And of course, too, you have been found worthy in character. So long as you have not been involved in anything that casts aspersion to your character or attitude, then they see you as somebody that's some blemish character-wise. So these are the two angles that schools certify, these two areas of skill and attitude. And that is still what employers are looking out for when they want to pick applicant for a job. Because the simple reason, especially that of which they call soft skill, that is very important, because we have seen instances where people are good in their job, they have the know-how, the skill, but character-wise, they cannot sustain that job. And so somewhere along the line, they are either sacked or they sack themselves because they can't cope with the expectation of the employer. So there's always the common balance that said that the skill gets you into the job and the character sustain and elevate you. So you see the character aspect is still very good. So when interview is being conducted, the focus is on these two sides, on the side of skill and character. And so when questions are being raised, it is done such that the job applicant may not know the direction of the interviewer. It's usually done such that you think you are just answering any other question. But there are certain questions that are asked to bring out the real person in you, because the truth about it is about human nature. We tend to we cover up, we mask our real self. Our real self is usually not just made open. By human nature, we are very pretentious. We can mask up just like people wear masks. Your real character is hidden. and what you may just display may not be your true self. But the real you begin to manifest when the job is given, and you begin to see strange behavior you never linked or identified during the interview. And so this is the reason why, most employers and interviewers pay attention to the soft skill, which have been found to be very, very important. In fact, it's pivotal to making you to do well in your hard skill, because it is the character, your attitude tend to, shaping a lot of things. You may be good in the job by the way you are perceived, but if your character is not acceptable, or appears negative, or is overwhelmingly bad, then you might not go far. And so there are areas interviewers want to look into. For instance, the job everybody does. Say, I work in this place, I work in that place, I do this, I do that. What is the work about? It's problem solving. You don't get money without solving problem. If you are a hair cutter, those barbers, you're able to give somebody the style he loves and he cherishes, and that is what, get him, going. It pays for it, because he cannot give himself that character. So that style. The same thing with fashion designer. You need certain style of clothing which you cannot do. Somebody is able to bring the style, blend it, and give you what look like a unique this thing. You pay for it. So people pay for when something have been, when what looks like a puzzle or a problem have been solved by some other person. The same thing, go to a restaurant, have some kind of food you like, and you may not be able to prepare it, but somebody does. I'll give it a unique taste, which himself have been able to research into and was able to get a kind of taste that will, endear people to the restaurant. So people give a lot of money to it. I had there was a meeting I held in this what do you call it, this restaurant in on the campus, Bawa campus, what do you call it, time home and away. Somebody chose it, and that the meeting should be held there. We went there, and I saw the way people were spending money. Spending money in the sense that a lot of money was being spent over something simple thing we could just see outside. They boil plantain, they put some sauce and all those things, and they put a lot of money, and people pay for it. And they're making money out of you because they believe they've been able to solve your appetite, what you desire to eat. They make it available to you. So just understand that one of the things the employer will always want to look at is problem-solving skill, problem-solving attitude, because that is what every organization will be confronted with. One time or the other, you are solving problem. There's what they call it, power problem, business problem. How do you reduce cost? How do you solve issue of incompetence? Somebody has been hired, you found that the person has become a liability and all those stuff. So these are issues that confront employers. As a matter of fact, if you are opportuned to to read the mind or hear from employers, one of the things they usually talk about is the attitude of people they employ. And so because this attitude affects their business, whenever they want to employ, they pay attention to the attitude of the person they want to employ. Because if somebody is an average, has average skill, if he has the right attitude, you can develop that person to a level you'll be happy with. But if the attitude is not there, and there's no way you can develop the person. He might not just be interested. He can exhibit all manner of dysfunctional behavior that you'll be puzzled. And so the focal point is always, how do I get the right person and has the right skill and the attitude? The two has to be well blended. So a lot of these things are done. A question can come from the area of, how do you know this person is can solve problem? A question can be framed in different ways. We'll come to that later. But just understand that interview is not just conducted for the sake of it. In fact, there are some indirect way you can get people over certain things, because some people look at questions. There was something we did sometime. A client, demanded that they need somebody with that is patient and prudent. A prudent person is somebody who is very economical in the use of resources. So we had to look at, what do we do? We invited 15 persons to the interview. We told them the interview time is 9 p.m. and 9 a.m. But unknown to them that we were not going to attend to them until 2 p.m. The idea was, we just wanted to test their level of patience. The interview has started, but nobody was speaking with them. But some of them became agitated when nobody was talking to them. They felt it was an act of inefficiency, or perhaps they don't even know what they are doing. But the issue here is, we wanted to know in practical terms whether that person is patient. And by 5 minutes to 2, out of 15, 10 of them walk away. On one reason or the other, they were angry. And that was the essence of the interview. Then we gave 2,000 each, which was provided by the employer, for them to go and take snacks. Whatever change that is left, they should bring. Again, unknown to them that itself was an interview. And they went, 2 of them finished the 2,000 given to them. Then the other 3 ate and brought some different variable change. So, and that was the interview we needed. And so when we finished, we just called them one by one to fulfill righteousness. Where's their name? But the truth about it is that the deciding factors were those 2 key areas of patience and prudence. But they didn't know. So whenever we're talking about interview, there's some hidden interview, because it has gone to the extent, because the nature of man is that man is very, very deceptive. So sometimes just asking questions during interview to find out may not be enough. There are sometimes you have what you call a provocative question. You want to see that person's level of anger. You want to know his level of emotional intelligence. And so you prick that person. He comes into the hall, you just, pick the person up, and the person might just believe and think that, oh, what is the problem? Why does this man just hate me? Why, this attack? Why, it is designed to bring out, to know your emotional intelligence. And some people are able to get over it. They calm themselves down, no matter the bullet, no matter the hutch and whatever, you see them soft-spoken, calm, and they're able to, be in control of what looks like, animosity against them. But you see those ones that have this low emotional intelligence, their reaction is the words I don't get the job. What is this nonsense for? You just see them, they can no longer control themselves. And you easily now know that hiring such person into the organization, then be prepared that you have hired a time bomb, which is just waiting for a time to explode. So these are the different angles. It depending on what the area of emphasis is. If the emphasis is on skill, we want to see the competence level and the skill proficiency. The focal point should be question tuned to, bring out that aspect of that person. Then if it's a relationship thing, because oftentimes what people think about when we talk about experience, people see experience only in the, performing the same job function over time. And so they are used to it. And so that gives them some level of proficiency. It goes beyond that. Experience is not just that. Experience also includes your relationship with others. Because you're going to have different personality you're going to work with. There are some unpleasant personality, you have no choice but to work with them if your career journey has to smooth sail. Some people are very, very temperamental. Some even can use some uncomplimentary words and remarks, which some people will not take kindly. Say, what you compare me, even they throw word to my parent, to my distant, you at that time you are now angry. You feel like, quitting the job. But how many of such jobs can you quit? Because the organization, the place of work, is made up of different personalities, some pleasant, some unpleasant. And you have no choice than to work with this personality. And so how do you survive working with a personality you see as unpleasant? So this is a challenge. And an employer who knows, you're going to be confronted with this kind of thing, can also design an interview that we know whether you can work with any character that, you come across in the organization. These are major issues. I've seen a lot of people quitting jobs on ground of maybe their boss appears too overbearing and too hard, too difficult, to use all manner of things. But it could just be their own principle of life. And maybe it could also be perceptual error. The way you perceive that person may not necessarily be what the person is. It could even be that certain things are not right with the person. That's why it's, in that, mood swing or negative mood all the time. And people don't look at that. So when you see an advert saying, an excellent interpersonal relationship is a plus, and they're indirectly telling you that, hey, if you can relate with all manner of personalities, then you are the type of person that can be considered for such job. Truly speaking, even in the place of work, you're going to meet with all manner of personality, both desirable and undesirable. And because you don't have choice, if your career journey has to, go unhindered, you have to learn how to work with this manner of persons. You have no choice. Even if you move to another organization, they are there. They are there. It's just something you can't help. So what you need is study the character of the personality you are going to work with, and there will always be an entrance into carrying such character along and being able to survive on that. And the experience actually comes from working with all manner of human beings. Because by the time you come across a similar personality, it becomes a walkover to you. Because you have been able to find out the nature of such person and able to find out how to relate, excellently with the person. So these are, the templates that determines how questions are framed. It's not just framed for the sake of being framed. Interview questions are framed based on, necessity, based on what is viewed as a challenge, a problem of the organization. And we need such person in the organization because there's a gap. And how do you fill this gap? Is to identify who can fit into this, this kind of personality. Oh, we need somebody like this, like that, So that is how it goes. So you frame questions in that manner. Most times, job seekers don't know when certain questions are even raised. Some questions are raised on how you are able to manage certain personality. And what you often hear people, especially the Gen Zs, and the Gen Alpha, some of them believe in quitting. You always hear them say, no, if this is, I quit. This is, I quit. How many jobs can you quit? No, understanding that quitters never win and winners never quit. You have to really tune yourself to, being able to survive all personalities. That is the real experience. The real experience. If you are opportune to hear from maybe your parents, your other distant that have worked, if you hear their challenges and they are able to surmount it and still, press on and become somebody of note, that is where the experience lies. The experience, as a matter of fact, helps you to discipline and culture your own character to be able to survive in any, with any personality that, you work with. That's the essence. And so questions are not just framed. And even when questions are even asked, one of the things that interviewers use is you X-ray the job seekers. You X-ray them because body has a language. There are some they will not say it out, but you can read their body language and know this is who this person is. And so sometimes, even as job seekers or when you are being interviewed, you exhibit some kind of character that tend to transmit wrong messages that you are not supposed to be, that are not supposed to be part of your personality trait. And so you must be careful the kind of body language you transmit, because that is a focal point for the interviewer. Like they say the mouth is last to speak. The mouth is always the last to speak. The body would have spoken, there would be transmission of messages through the body language. And of course, this interview is hinged more to the behavioral side. This is what you just have to, get out of the applicant. So, like I said, there are so many things. It could be on financial ground. I want to see whether somebody can, has this kind of self-awareness, because sometimes too, an interview questions can be framed based on whether the person who know who he or she, who the person is. Because we also found that some job seekers don't even know who they are. Yes, it might be, commonly said that, we know who we are. We know it's just commonly said, but that is not what is in practice. Because some people, you will just get to find out that they really don't understand who they are. And that, kind of manifests during interview. For instance, you have a character issue. There was a particular interview we conducted, and a question was raised. And the person has this penchant for, pilfering. That is taking money from the money that is given. He didn't really steal it, but just I will use it when later they need the money, I will provide it. And so when there's what looks like a sudden audit, they now begin to dig gold to fill hole. That is, mop all the money here, use it to cover this in order to put that. And when you don't have control over yourself, when it comes to the issue of indiscipline with regards to money you are being given to who, then you don't accept job in that area, for the time being, until you are able to overcome that character problem. And this is what some people don't even know. There was a lady, after interviewing her, there was something we observed, and that, made us to ask a question. If you are given this position to hold, what are those issues or behavioral traits that you are still battling with that could hamper your doing this job effectively? The person watched and just came out very plainly that he's here to overcome his he's not a prudent person. He can just dip into money and this. So he said so many things about herself, and we quickly concluded that this person should not go to that position, because if he goes there, it's going to be a problem. And the person confessed that he would have even turned the job down if he were given that kind of job, because he knew he would be in trouble. It would be a problem. So he came and said, please, if you wouldn't mind, I am ready for any other job apart from this. Meanwhile, that person read accounting and had a good grade, appears good, but he has a character problem that he had not been able to deal with. And so, because he knew, he understand who she, he said, I don't want that job yet. Maybe in future, let me, deal with this problem I have. That is self-awareness. For instance, you say, oh, I need a front desk officer. That is the job I want to do. And you are not a pleasant personality. You are easily, angered. Any little thing you are triggered off. You can be very saucy. And yet you want to be a front desk officer. There's a knack. That is, you have not yet known yourself. If you get that job, you might not survive it. Because a report by any of the customer can send you packing. So self-awareness is also very important. That could also be tested, because when you have self-awareness, it helps you. In fact, it can make you perform even better than you would have. having that self-awareness. I recall vividly, I had a personal experience when we were in school. My roommate was the type who liked reading overnight. And I like reading after that 70, maybe 10 and all. So, but he will come and he will say, let us go and read. And he talks too much. He will see what Gecko is say. He will analyze. He will say this. When I observed that he was that kind of person, I started avoiding him. I said, this man, in fact, what got me astonished was one day I was sleeping and I woke up to find that this guy was seriously reading. You know, that kind, 3 to 6 reading. Everything sinks. I said, okay, I will not allow this guy to follow me because he knows that he's at his best during that hour. So whoever he follows out to go and read is going to kill that person time. So that is it. It's part of self-awareness. Understanding who you are, your shortcomings, your strengths, helps you to, do well in the place of work. And employers are aware of this. Interviewers are aware of this. And so, questions can be framed along this area in order to bring out whether truly you know who you are. That is one angle. Then there are several other angles you might also look at. Maybe adaptability, easy adaptability. Some people are not easily adaptable. It could be a problem. That may be the reason they will not do well for some long time. So you want to see how adaptable the person is. We're moving that person from one environment to another environment. It can be a problem. Let me give you an instance, because people don't, whichever way you look at change, it's not something people embrace. Change is something people fear. They don't like it. When MPDC, this unit of NNPC, when they were going to transit from being a parastatal to a fully limited liability company, which means they were now going to be fending for themselves, making their own this thing, and now stop to be spoon-fed. So I was invited to be one of the speakers. So I looked at it, I said, how do I, transmit this message of change? So the person who gave talk before me, when he finished, I stepped in. So I now told them, you move to this, you move to this. I was moving them from their comfort zone, where they were sitting. And if you look at their faces, it was not pleasant. They were not, I'm sure they would have been saying, what kind of nonsense is this? This man was asked to come and do your lecture and leave. Which one? I'm comfortable here. What is all this problem for? Moving us, scattering us. It was not a pleasant sight, so this, but I did it. When they have moved and I said, okay, go back to your former seat. This is what change is all about. This is to just let you know that people don't embrace change because they fear it. They don't know it's pregnant with a lot of things. And so they are usually uncomfortable with change. Say, you prepare for it because you have been feeding fat under federal government. Now you're going to bake your own cake before you eat. And so because of that, you're going to see some level of discomfort here and there. If you don't change from what used to be, a spoiled brat to somebody who had to struggle to make it, then you might just be brought aside. It was then it dawned on them that, this is change you are talking about. This is change management. So you are transiting now from one level to another level. The level you are going is a more challenging level. So it could just be that, because issue of adapting from what looks like a comfort zone to not too comfortable zone is not something people will just happily embrace. And so these are issues. So when you are hiring somebody into such kind of environment, then these are the questions you now have to raise will be whether that person is adaptable. How easily adaptable is this person? A scenario could be painted and see how do you survive under this kind of thing. From the reaction, you easily know you ask. So there are different areas. It's not as if they just have what look like a static way of interview. It depends on what you are interviewing that person for. And it depends on what the organization needs. If the organization is reorganizing, then they need new, people that can add better value to the organization. So, but questions are not just framed for the sake of it. It is as a result of what the organization really wants. So when you look at all these things, you may be tempted to think that okay, they just ask questions for asking sake. There's one usually when interviewers are working, there's certain things they want to look at, which most often people don't look at. This they want to look at the competence of that person, look at attitude and fit. Could be cultural fit, could be different area. And so how does this person fit into this kind of environment? Competence, everybody know. They can just give you an aptitude test. They can give you so many things. There was something we did, I think that was late last year, and the question was, was given, and I think 50 questions to be done in 5 minutes. And just look at it, it's not possible. How can these people give this kind of thing? Can you even do it? But the hidden fact in that question was carefully read the instruction and answer none. Answer none. But to my surprise, all of them were just, sweating, doing the something. Whether they even read the instruction, I doubted. So they did it. When it was 5 minutes, we said stop. So say, this is not fair now. This thing should have been 5 minutes for 50 questions. How many? With all these, technical questions here and there. It was after they finished, we took them in and asked someone, can you read the instruction? He read it very clear and loud. That was where they started screening. Hey, what a blunder, what a mistake. No wonder. So the idea there is a lot of things you want to look at in somebody. So it's not just one-way traffic. There are several ways, because the understanding is that it is people that you use in creating wealth. And if you have the right type of persons, then you do well. If you don't hire right, you pay the price. It will become even a cost rather than an income potential to you. So people are really, really careful. That is why you find some will say first interview, second interview. The idea is to sift and get the best that is available or is within that. So just understand that competence is important as a way you can draft questions that bring out for somebody to bring out competence, especially on the job you have been performing. and they want to see how good you are on that job. And so when a question is asked, ability to use the professional language and use what is this, and they will know that, oh, this person, sometimes they won't allow you to even finish, say stop, because the person know that you are in the right direction and you understand what you are saying. So the competence can be brought apart from, the attitude test and go to it. But maybe a professional question is asked and they want to see how you are able to answer it. So area that border on competence, whether this person can perform or understand this thing is one angle. The attitude, which again talked about a soft skill. Questions can be framed in different area of attitude. That is what I've been saying. That's one area. Then talk about the fit of that person. How the person's whether it's well aligned, culture-wise, because sometimes people come from a background that is difficult for them to fit into where they are going to work. So you must align what you have developed over time and where you are going. If there's a conflict, in that cultural fit, it could be a problem. That may be the reason the person may not even do well. And you will not find it, easy. Then apart from that cultural fit, the other area you have to also look at, look at whether you align with the vision and the mission statement of the organization. Because if there's no alignment, can be a problem too. So those are the three critical areas, something interview can be focused, and they can be expanded to follow this various angle. And actually, what do you look at when you put somebody is being interviewed? Confidence of that person. Your display of confidence, tells you that the person has a good mastery of the situation, that is on top of the game. What makes people fidget is when they don't know what they are supposed to say. If you know what you are saying, you are just as calm as anything, and you say it the way you would have said it, and you are just okay with it. Recall, I could still flash back. If you are preparing for exam, you are not adequately prepared. Mere sight at the question paper, your body chemistry will just change. You feel the unexpected has come. But if you are adequately prepared and you are and you just feel unperturbed, and when take the question, you are calm, you go through it, because you believe that which area, which question are they going to say that I will not be able to rival it. So these are areas that confidence, the very first something. Then as you are also speaking, people want to see clarity in your expression, not talking, in a contradictory manner and, being repetitive. Not one thing, repeat it again in another manner. Just straight to the point. Because an interviewer, of course, you're working under time constraint. So it will not give you the time for you to be, talking and talk. Just go straight to the point. But prepare your answer in logical sequence. Just let it flow. Straight to the point. And make it very relevant to the question being asked. you know, there was somebody we asked a question. For instance, we said, "Oh, why would you like to work in this organization?" He said, "Yes, I love to work in this organization because, I understand the pay structure is very enticing. They pay well, and I love organizations that pay well." And the emphasis was just on self-centered this thing. That is just talking of that. And we were just looking at each other. So this one is just here for his own selfish motive, nothing else. Oh, the reason somebody built this place that you are now attracted to because a good salary is being paid. So what will be your own contribution in terms of building? So instead of him to say, well, he loved to work with a team that, that are goal-oriented, because going by my pedigree, I'm a go-getter, and I love working with teams that have that, attitude of striking for goal or striving for goal. And so, having watched the organization over time, I fell in love with, the corporate culture, and I felt this is where I belong. This is where I would like to be. And so I have been researching on the organization to the extent I follow them, from time to time. And so when the opportunity came that I had to apply and I was shortlisted, so I am more inclined to the fact that I want to be among, team builders, go-getters. And I believe using the synergy of two good heads are better than one. I believe I can make my contribution also. So those are things that kind of where you answer a question like that. It's not to just say the salary is what attracting you, and they just know that you have a selfish motive, So, like I said, let whatever you are, don't tell stories. Nobody is inclined to listen to all those plenty stories, because the name of the game is brevity, just straight to the point, and make your points. The point count, and able to, exhibit some confidence as you are speaking, because that puts you in control of what you are saying, and people see you that this person knows, his onions. He knows what he's talking about. But if you are talking and fidgeting and looking rattled, then nobody will show interest in that kind of personality. So you have to look at that. Then there are a lot of questions they ask. Maybe it could also be a situation where you have a problem colleagues, and how do you handle a problem colleague? But the truth about it, the way you handle a challenging boss, that's the same thing you also do to this. It's a question of understanding the person's personality traits, being able to also classify where that person, how you can relate with such person based on such personality traits. And you also find that on your own part, you are not found wanting, because every personality has certain do's and don'ts. There are people who have zero tolerance for mistakes and errors. Maybe you do job for him, a lot of mistakes, a lot of errors, and so there's no way such personality will ever, have that cordial relationship. Or you don't produce your work on time, on schedule. Say, do this job and report back in 2 days' time. Because the person is not around, you just forget about it. And by the time the person comes, if you now need the job, then you are now running head-scatter. You begin to say there's a lot of pressure on the job. But you are the one who couldn't manage, the time. When you had the time, you didn't do it. So that could be a problem. So, but there's really no personality you cannot work with. No one. The secret is study the personality. You have some kind of personality that love their ego to be massaged. They want you always survive working with them when you know how to massage their ego, make them feel very important, praise them, make them feel good, hype them. You have such personality. So long as you are doing that and you know your job, no matter how difficult such boss may be, you're able to work successfully with such person. And in fact, some of your colleagues will be wondering, how are you able to get along with this devil? And of course, they will just call him devil. This man is not a good person. But you understand him. You know his do's and don'ts. And you are able to be on that same template. Then it's a walkover. But the question is, a lot of people, maybe due to pride, due to the fact that, they have been conditioned to certain behavior, and so they are unable to get out of that thing and becomes a problem. So any question that have been asked in interview is centered around certain, challenges, problems, situations, so that they want to see if you can handle such situation. If you have the opportunity of being considered for the job. There was a friend of mine. He attended an interview. While they were there, there were so many, and it was one of these federal government. They didn't know because they didn't mention the name of the organization. So they came and he got himself prepared, thinking that he was going to be asked some very some relevant questions. Rather, they were asking, you, who is the emir of Gwandu? Who is this? They started asking, and he was baffled because he already had a job. And he had the courage to, he stood up and said, sorry, sir. I think when they gave them opportunity to speak. So when he had the opportunity, he said, when I applied for this job, I thought I was going to be, the questions that will be asked will challenge my pedigree, what I've been able to do. And he thought that was what going to be. But to be asked who is the emir of Gwandu and all those stuff, he said, well, to him, he's not an establishment man. He's not cut out for jobs where you'll be talking that he wants to see what he can bring to the table, what he can deliver. And so, sir, if you wouldn't mind, can I be excused from this interview? And those people that sat around him felt he was damn crazy. What is this man talking? He has the audacity to, this man doesn't need job. He must be mad. And they were looking at him. So the panel were looking at each other. They nodded their heads and they gave him his paper. He bowed and he took his leave. Meanwhile, what they were doing was more of, they were making a jest of which university are you? And that's a glorified. They were making this thing. What they wanted, the interview was to provoke the thought of, they wanted someone with audacity that can challenge the status quo. And that was the guy who did. And so when he left, he never even thought he would ever this thing. But to his surprise, after 3 months, he saw a courier this thing and brought it. He said he didn't attend any interview because that one he knew that it was over. But behold, it was letter of appointment. He was shocked. But that day he didn't. Why would these people want to hire him with his this thing? That was what they were looking for. They needed somebody that had the gut to challenge status quo, not to continue to say yes, as you said, even when I did, because they knew the nature of the job the person was going to occupy needed that audacity that can be combined with diplomacy, but that was what they needed. And when they found it in him. He didn't understand until he resumed that job. It wasn't a new, okay, this is the reason he didn't understand initially. Because that job, really required guts. Yes, you'll be tossed here and there. So most times, questions that the interviewer will ask are question people that sometimes be a puzzle to people. You will just be wondering, why is this person asking this question? And sometimes it could also be like a gist. Something happened in Unilever. A friend of mine attended some time ago. It's a little bit long now. When they came, they conducted around the Unilever premises. They thought it was sightseeing. When they finished, they took them to the room and started calling them one after the other. And they said, can you chronicle what you saw when we went round? It was then it dawned on them. What was that interview meant for? Knowledge of the work environment. They believed as they were going around, they should just have a meta picture of the work environment. And so because they're going to say something they have observed, and that brings out the power of observation in you. Because sometimes people don't understand their work environment. They work in a place, they don't understand the dynamics of that environment. And it could be a challenge. And if you find yourself in such situation, you will not do well. You're going to have problems. So knowledge of the work environment, you can see the way they stylishly brought the question. They have conducted them around. And that's why when you are in any interview venue, and if that is where the organization is, try to sift out so many information about that company, because you can easily get information. If they have their mission statement, their things they have done, try to see if you can sift as much. Because if you say, oh, you have shown interest in the organization, you love the organization, you've been following, you should be able to say so many things about the organization. A place you show interest. How can you say, maybe they ask you a question, you cannot say anything about it. You cannot see their track record, what they have been doing and so forth. So these are issues. So when you talk of questions, it's very, very, it can be very embracive. The question is, what exactly does the employer want? What does the interviewer look for? If you look at some theoretical discourse, some where they talk about, and they have acronym, they call STAR method of answering questions and all those things. What that is just simply telling you that just be concise, direct, and be relevant in what you are saying. Try to poke the heart of the interviewer. When you are able to do that, you smash them, because these are the things. It's not for you to start memorizing, talking about. They say that this is just nothing than just have a, because sometimes some we just be telling story that is really not relevant. You are asked a question. The question should be directly answered, and it should be relevant to the point. And of course, they want to see how you are able to articulate your viewpoint regarding that. And so these are, a lot of things you look at. Well, I don't know, we might not frame question, but just to have a general overview of these technical areas, because it is, these are things that we have found a lot of people find difficult to really understand when some of these questions are done. But maybe to quickly go to the area of certain, I would say, cultural practices, something that people are doing, ignorantly, and is against the ethics of interview. There are some of you that read books on interview and all those things. You have to be careful. There's some of them tell you that if you finish interview, have a handshake with the interviewer. Don't try it. You only do that at top level interview, where it is perceived that you have an equal status with the interviewer, because it's a top level job at that point. You don't expect that you are seeking for a job that is low level. If you are offering a handshake. No. It's not advisable. It's for people of the same this thing, maybe interview for MD. It is saying that the interviewer could be seen as contemporary. So that is something that some people tell them to be doing, and you should not. Then again, too, some people are too salary conscious. One way by which they look at whether you are just more, interested in pay, and it's becoming very common. From my own experience, some will look at adverts, and they don't look at the requirement of that job for which you are expected to earn that what looks like a mouth-watering salary. But what they are interested is that salary. And so when, by the time they now start this, you find that you are not just, you are a misfit to such job. They can't even take you under whatever imagination. So you have to look at the requirement of the job. Somebody applied for a job position of an F&B manager. And obviously, looking at the person body language, we assume that the person may be a novice. And we ask, okay, what do you understand by F&B? He didn't know. You want to be an F&B manager? He didn't know what F&B stands for, food and beverage. And even the beverage doesn't know, because we asked, do you know even in the beverage, because as a professional in that area, you should understand what they call mixology. When you have cocktail, you must be the one to, to supervise those that will prepare it. And you don't have any idea of that. You were not trained. You didn't acquire the knowledge through experience. How do you think you can survive such a job? Of course, you may not even, you may not be able to get that job. Then we are not talking on the food angle of it. You have chef. You are going, as a manager, you supervise the chef. The chef usually are the head of kitchens. And so how can you supervise chef when you don't know various techniques of food preparation? You don't know various recipes of food, how you can even give unique recipe to give certain, you just say, you are just interested in a position. So a lot of people now are, I would say, they graduate last year, they want to be manager this year. I usually ask, who do you want to manage? With what? You need the experiential knowledge to be able to manage people, not your academic something that has not sufficiently prepared you for it. You need applied knowledge. So somebody who joined the place before you, who also understand the operational, nitty-gritty of the place, then you are coming, you want to come and be a manager by it. Are you using juju or what? What are you going to? So you discover that because they are so power inclined, they want position, which they don't even have what it takes to sustain. That is not done. And so when you are asking for salary, slow it down. Let the employer, bring it up. And when they bring it up, then you can now mention it based on your research of the organization, because you don't just put marks that this is salary you want. Salary is usually related to the industry of that organization and the city center where that job is located. For instance, if you are in Lagos, they can pay you higher because of the cost of living in Lagos, Port Harcourt, Abuja. But if you're outside these three centers, you might not get that kind of. So most times your friend tells you, oh, I'm working in this, or this is what I earn. And so you attended an interview in a place like Benin, you ask them, you want them to pay you the same salary that they are paying all those things. Yeah, that is not, it shows you have not done your homework. And every sector has salary, kind of salary schedule that, that rule within that sector. So you cannot bring banking sector salary to a small scale outfit. And this is where a lot of people miss it. You can use salary to scare the employer. And at the end of the day, you might not even have what it takes to even get such salary. So it doesn't make sense. So you must do your homework. Find out what, the lower and upper range of salary within the system and what the industry average is in terms of salary within that sector. And you also try to look at the competence level they require, because every job has certain basic requirements. So there's you have to relate it. It's very, very important. People just mention salary without doing their homework. You can always get information if you care. Then usually too, in terms of even job roles, you need to properly, situate it. The job role that they are talking about, and what the ruling rate for such job role, sector by sector. These are some kind of research you do. Then avoid this giving fixed figure, because a lot of people also make mistakes. Give a range. So that when you have done your research, give a range between this and this, so that they can play within that range. Don't just fix this thing. And also too, remember, every job require how you are able to justify your value regarding a job. You must be able to amplify stylishly your value in terms of what you are bringing on board, based on your experience, based on your achievements, and the skills you have developed. These are what will naturally entice an employer, because if he sees the relevant experience you are bringing on board, and they are seeing your achievement records, you know, how you have been able to add value to your previous job and the impact you have made, and the skill that you have been able to. This is what will, entice the employer. It is something mistake a lot of people make. They just underplay this key area of their experience, and sometimes some will be playing experiential knowledge that is not relevant. When you are crafting your CV does not necessarily have to be a uniform thing. You keep on adjusting certain things depending on the sector of the job you are looking at. But some people just have a uniform CV. If you are applying for this, so long as your experience is a little bit, is wide and is variable, you can always adjust to suit any job this thing, because you can really adjust yourself to the job need of the organization. And so you must focus on this issue of your experience. People look at it. Interviewers look at your experience. There's some rich experience you will see. You draw your question based on that this thing, because you are interested in it. You also look at what the person has been able to accomplish, why he was working there. You led a team. Can you tell us one of such moments your organization was able to achieve an extraordinary result based on your competence? You should be able to say something in that regard. These are things that will entice the employer. Of course, demonstrate that you have the requisite skill, to do the job. Well, in terms of salary, people talk of salary. Sometimes there are some jobs that have some perks, that are hidden. And by the time you add it up, you are even better than people who think they are earning so much. So don't be too forward. Emphasis you always ask of, other incentives that will make you be better off in terms of career growth prospects, in terms of bonuses you can get. Some organizations do profit sharing, certain level. If you're able to do that, whatever is different. Then training opportunities. These are things that will make you really sharpen your experiential base. So, you must look at all these things, looking at certain cultural expectations. A lot of job seekers speak ill of their previous employers. Is a no area. Don't do that. I've always told people, do you know whether any of the interview panel is a friend, a relation, or a church member, or a Christian brother of the person you are trying to run down? You don't run down your previous employer. Just be silent about it. If they ask you why you're leaving your present job, well, like any human aspiration, we're all striving towards higher heights. You feel haven't spent such a long time. You're giving, you have written your name in in good, and you believe you need to explore further because you believe that the sky is not your limit. Just give a justification, not because you are not living because this person was a monster. This person is wicked. He doesn't do this. He doesn't do that. That is not the way. It's usually not. It's something you should avoid. Then don't exaggerate or tell lies. A lot of people tell lies, even in their CV. They just tell lies. And most jobs now, they have what we call background check. They want to verify. You claim you have worked in so and so place. I want to find out whether truly you work there, and if you did, um, how did you how did you exit from that job? On good note, or you absconded, and no employer would like to hire you when they find that you didn't do what is right. You just absconded, thinking that the employer will have opportunity to pay you back and say, hey, and this person you are thinking about, I hope you are not looking at employing him or her. It's a disaster waiting to happen. He has created a problem for us for which we are still battling with. Nobody will hear that and want to give you a job. So always learn the habit of properly disengaging yourself from job. Don't abscond. Don't also, whenever the questions are being asked, some people show their rudeness at the interview. They are very interruptive. They just interrupt. They become overbearing, and that shows the kind of personality that you are, and that will just take you out of that job space. Then you have issue of being desperate or arrogant. Don't show desperation. You need the job, quite all right, but don't be desperate. Don't be arrogant. A lot of people come with that air of bravado. They just hype themselves, and of course, nobody wants to hire an arrogant person. And remember, I mentioned employer want to look at what are you bringing to the table. Is it influence? Is it skill or your experiential knowledge? Is it some creative wonders? Or you have this thing of a go-getting attitude. You're always able to achieve. They want to see what you are bringing to the table, not you just talk just vaguely. I work in this, and they ask you specific question, you cannot defend it. So you can work around all this. Just also remember, when you are before an interview panel, don't make call or answer call. It happened. There was some people we sent to hair soldering UBA. They were managers. When they were interviewing them, someone answered the call. Say, don't play with my wife call. That was just it. He lost it. They told us, hey, this person is not a material to be hired. You don't make phone call now. You put your call on silent, or if you want to put it up, not to begin to answer call and say sorry. The damage has been done. So these are, things you should not, be this thing. Then don't leave, without asking questions. Don't leave without asking questions. I recall vividly some few years back. I was in Lagos then, briefly. I attended an interview in Italy. And while we were seated there, a lady made life unbearable for us because virtually he knew all the top officers in that place. So he greased all of them and even proved to us that he has the influence. So haven't I known that Okay, these people know that they already have somebody they want to hire. Why did they call us for this interview? I have to travel from Lagos down to Saple, taking all those risks. So when I got to the interview hall, I also prepared my own strategy. So after being interviewed, I asked them, I knew they were going to pick the person because the girl couldn't even hide some secret that has a letter from Oroji, and they just needed two persons for that job, one in the engineering and one in this. So when I now got in, after being asked a question, my question, I told them, when am I resuming? And they said, who told you that you have been taken? I said, no, I don't attend any interview I'm not taking, and this will not be an exception. I'm cocksure this job is mine. I just look forward to when I will resume, and I'm going to meet you people there. We will be colleagues, and I love the good job you people are doing. And they were taken aback, and they didn't want to just take my statement for granted. They asked me, through whom did you submit your application? I told them that I submitted it through the MD. I gave them puzzle. They were, you know, the only thing they said, I hope you are not going to give us problem when you come here, because I don't know how you are sounding so optimistic that you will be taken, that you have never attended an interview, you were not taken. And this will not be an exception. I don't know. I don't know. So they were rattled. And I told myself, yes, I know I was not going to be taken, but I'll just leave a food for thought for them that they have to go and do more work to be able to make that get sail through. So I was satisfied with that. So there's always ways you look at issues. So, but the essential thing I'm mentioning here is that understand, that in an interview, you have to be well prepared. You have to research, about the job you are going to do. As a matter of fact, when you step into the premises, interview has started. Sometimes people don't know that you are being observed. You are being observed. And there are some organizations, they put you in their CCTV camera in a room where they have the CCTV camera and they are observing you. And so when you come in one by one, they already have observed the shaft from the grain. And so they don't spend time with those they have written off based on the observation while they were in a room. And that's why you have to be careful. Once you come into the interview venue, the consciousness that you are being observed, because that is, remember, the very critical aspect of the human element is the behavior. And so they have to really observe it to know the kind of person you are going to hire. And again, too, a lot of applicants these days don't dress well. They are not professional in their dressing. You know, some wear these hard jeans to interview, these jeans that are torn. Yeah. How do you use that to sell yourself? If they sell a good product, sell itself. Will you call that a good product, a well-packaged product? Where is it seen? In corporate world, some level of decency is still being practiced. But, in the social world, anything goes. But it's not so with the corporate world. And so, more so that you are not yet, a bona fide member of that corporate world. So you don't know what their culture really is yet. And so you must present yourself as, a dignified professional by your dress habits. So a lot of people don't dress well. They wear slippers, they wear all manner of things. And don't be surprised if you are now being priced cheap because of the way you are being perceived. A job that would have given you 10 naira, they are now pricing you 5 naira. It's the way you are being perceived. Your outlook is not professional. They don't really, they won't want to associate with that kind of you know, toxic personality. You know, organization want their image to be also enlarged by the kind of person they look at. So um, those little things, they are little things, but they matter a lot. A lot of people gloss over it and they tend to trivialize that what is dress? And you can dress anything. After all, self, how much are they going to pay? It's not about how much they are going to pay. At least your personality belongs to you. When it is properly packaged, is attracted to the employer and to the interviewer. So you should not undermine that. We have talked about issue of punctuality. Some people always arrive late in everything. Interview, they arrive late. And once you come late, what can you observe? You are the mercy of others who might not even oblige you with enough information because, you came late. Always be punctual, whether during interview and after you have been employed. Then I mentioned that you are allowed to communicate very fluently, um, you know, being concise and uh, well, logical in your presentation is important. Um, uh, you know, avoid giving this storyline. Go straight to the point and be concise. Make your point very clearly. Then, if they give you opportunity to ask questions, ask very good and intelligent questions that can at least make the interviewer have that feeling that, oh, this person is good. Has the success card. Don't just ask questions. They just think about money, about this. Something that bother on the prospect, the future, and how um, you know you can really be in terms of innovation and being able to bring unique ideas to the organization. Those are things we look at. Then those are some. There are a lot of little things, but those are the basic ones you need to look at. So, as I want to round up this, in terms of questions, I told you we can come with series of questions. Maybe tomorrow, that is the area. I just want to lay the foundation, the platform that questions are not just asked. They have a reason why questions are asked, depending on what the employers want to employ you for. So that determines the nature of the questions. So just as I said, there's no smoke without fire. There's no question without a motive. We must get that very clearly. So thank you for listening. And at this time, if you have any questions, I think you are free to ask. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for the amazing lecture. Me personally, I learned so much talking about how we should do our research. Even when we're going to discuss salary, we should give a range. I also learned a lot about how we should. Basically, you mentioned that point where you said that there are two things you are looking out for: the skill and character. So it's not just wanting to know everything and be very skilled. If you don't have the character, you won't be able to succeed. So thank you very much, sir. I really appreciate this. I'll now open the floor to anyone who has a question. Please, you could just lift up your hand and ask your question. If you have a question, you can just maybe lift your hand and ask your questions. One thing that we're taught today is always to ask questions too in our interviews. So let us start practicing that by asking questions. Hi, James. Please go ahead.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Hope
Good evening.
I can be
Yeah,
heard.
really.
Thank you very much,
Yes,
guys.
we can hear
And
you.
we are really grateful. I am really grateful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for putting years of experience into this 1 hour of lecture. I really appreciate, and I've learned so much. And I'm already feeling like a, a guru when it comes to acing interviews. Amen. So my question is actually as regards the salary, the pay, because in some job offers you see the aside from the remote job offer, you see there's already a salary range, and some interviewers will still ask you what the salary expectation, and it was written on the job offer that you applied. So let's say there's job that pays 500 or 800,000, but they still asking you. So at that point, what are they looking for? Are they wanting that, oh, maybe they are ready to push it further, or they, because I don't know, what are they actually looking for by asking that kind of question, knowing that you already know the salary, because the salary is already that's stated in the or are they giving you a room to negotiate your own salary? Is that
Yeah.
an
Okay,
opportunity?
I understand you. That's what we call value alignment. Value alignment. Those things are deliberately done. They want to align your value because sometimes you could have some exceptional person. If they find that you are bringing in much value, and yes, they have a range they feel they can accommodate, but they can negotiate within that range. If they find you much valuable that, hey, they just can't do without having you. Yeah, that is the essence of it. And if they find your value far lower than what they are envisaging and you are asking for top notch, I think they just knock you down because um, you should be able to align your value to what you really think you are. So that's the essence. They want you to align your value to their value expectation. That is just it. If, for instance, they say, oh, the salary range is 50, 100. 100 is the maximum. It's not very likely that uh, they will give you 100. But in the process of interviewing you, and they found that something quite unique and good about you, you have been able to show, what you have been able to do and, the impact you have made, the value you usually, bring on the table wherever you are, wherever you go. And they can begin now to see you, okay, based on who I am, this is what I think I want within the range. I go for the top notch. The reason is this. Wherever I work, I make sure I'm able to add not just marginal value. You cannot give an example of where you have worked. And some people do. They point out to the accomplishment. I did this, I was the one who did this. I brought sales from this level to this while I was there. You may wish to verify it. I was able to do this and this and this. And so when they have heard you like this, who is that employer who doesn't want a go-getter? There is none. Every employer wants the best. And if by having the best you have to pay a little more for it, yeah, so be it. Because at the end of the day, you know, is the value that you attach to that person that the person has told you is. You know, so that is the issue. So they have a salary range. They want you to justify where you fit within the salary range. And if your justification is weak, and they feel, okay, they want to also hire you, and they feel you have the basics and they have the potential to be developed, they can just put you where they feel they can. You are not to determine where you should be. The point at which you determine where you should be, then you have your pedigree, what you have been able to do in the past, and which you can use to challenge what they are offering. Yeah, it does happen. I had instances where we discuss with the client and say, hey, this person is good, but the salary range appears cannot accommodate this person. Can you think of adjusting? Because it's a big catch. It's good. It's somebody who will be able to turn his salary over, 10 times, within the first 1 or 2 months. And so when you see such, they are ready to adjust. They just want you to bring, how valuable you are, to the table, and let them look at it. But I can assure you that a lot of people, rather than do that, just want the sizable money, and want this, and want it without justifying it. As a matter of fact, you don't mention salary figure without justification. I personally even respect those who will say, hey, can we suspend the issue of salary? Can you try me for 1 month? Even if you don't pay me, I don't mind. But if you're not satisfied, just pay my transport. I'll give. But I know after that 1 month, we will negotiate salary, not what you are saying. Because I will. Some employers love such and such challenges can, provoke you being seen as a must hire. So it depends on how you perceive yourself or how you are being perceived. That is it. I don't know if I've answered your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We have another hand up. Shay, please, could you unmute, please?
All right. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, sir. Thank you so much for tonight's session. I really learned a lot. My question is, okay, I'm a radiographer and I've worked with some persons, but there's this particular owner that I worked with, and then it's already stated that as a radiographer, most especially the ones that have done internship and the ones that have been inducted to, the ones that have done NYSC, they are paid like 350K or 400K with accommodation and some other let me just say stipends. But there's this particular CEO that I saw, his radiographers, he would even tell them to sweep. He would even tell them to throw dirt away. And a radiographer is not supposed to sweep. I feel that a radiographer is not supposed to sweep. I feel that a radiographer is not supposed to throw dirt away. We're supposed to just come to the hospital or the diagnostic center, focus on our patients. Sometimes our radiographer will be the one, the senior radiographer will be the one to scan on the gen. And I'm like, but other places that I've worked, I'm not seeing this kind of thing. Although my senior radiographer did not leave, he's still there. But in my mind, I'm like, if this guy actually finds a better place and he leaves tomorrow, will anybody now say he does not have patience? I've learned new skills and character that we are supposed to have, most especially this adaptability, So I just want to ask, in a situation like this, is it fair for an owner to treat his employee like this? And this is already breaching the agreement, because that is not this what is in the statement of agreement. He's supposed to come, work, attend to patients, and then, so that's my question. If he leaves, would it be a wrong thing to do?
Well, you know, the 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 work environment we have, it's unfortunate that, well, people take advantage of the um, the work environment, that things are not working well. Well, it's like more people are pursuing few jobs, and the employers are aware of this. So some unscrupulous employers take advantage of it. But again, it depends on what you are looking for in a job, because some people take up job not minding the condition of the job for the experiential knowledge. They know somewhere along the line they are going to launch out. So they just are able to endure the other little things around that, okay, does not or do not dignify them. They don't mind. Some also may just be to momentarily solve the economic problem. They need a job to start off. So whatever condition of the job that they face, well, they just have to, because after all, government cannot employ everybody, and they have a limit as they can do. Then you have shrewd businessmen who will find it difficult to hire a cleaner to do that, and it's not using a top level. It's not right anyway, but again, if that is what the owner wants, what will you do? And you need that job, you need the experience. Because the time will come, what matters is what are your experiential base. And the man you think he's been there is not a fool. They say you stoop low to conquer. If you want to bring pride into the job scene, you might not be able to go far. That's the truth. The issue of say, oh, I'm not supposed to do this, I'm not. Yeah, it is true. You are right. But some of these things are done on certain, to accomplish certain gap in your life. Maybe you need the experience. You are not going to be there forever. Opportunity comes that you get a side job in government. You already have experience. That makes them to hire you. And all those sacrifices you have made is well made. At least that will enrich you, because you are not hyping yourself and looking yourself as someone that cannot do anything. It's something that this is one of the problems we find with a lot, because it's not only in hospital. There are many workplaces, because of the economic difficulty or crunch, people want to optimize resources. So how will I hire this and pay so much as they go and hire a cleaner? You should just add it as, just by the wayside. Yeah, some people have that kind of thing, but you gotta ignore it, because you cannot claim right. It's his own business. You cannot control him how he will run his business. If the person that he hires is willing to do stuff, well and fine. But when you say you won't do it and there's a condition of sustaining that job, then it means you have to quit. But remember, winners never quit and quitters never win. And you don't bring ego when it comes to job matter. Everything is temporal, because someday you will live there to something better. But those experiences remains. You can recall at a time when I used to sweep this, But when you leave that place, will somebody know you swept an office or you did this, you did that? Yeah, it's part of life. That's the way I feel. There's not something you can really claim like to say you want to go and do this, want to do. The only thing you can do when you feel you can't stand without it is to quit. Will you quit a job when you don't have alternative ready for yourself? Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. There are some of your parents that may just be taking some shit somewhere, working somewhere, but they may not tell you, but bills have to be paid, and and so for that reason, you can't afford to, quit on the ground of say, I'm not supposed to do this, I'm not supposed to do that. Just go ahead with it. So that's my candid opinion. So it's if it's not for financial reason, for experiential knowledge. If it's not for experiential knowledge, it's to bridge the gap, depending on what sometimes you never can tell. That place can be a line of your destiny job. Maybe you'll be there, somebody will come and make contact, and while you're there, you get something better. Yeah, some of these things, you don't understand the way God works. But God wants to see us be humble, just humble ourselves, and it will lift us. That is it.
All right, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Because another thing that even made me ask the question was when the woman, the owner, I just overheard us saying that he's not considerate, even with all the things that he's been doing. But then I understand you, and I'm grateful I asked. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very, very much, Shay. We have Kelechi's hands up, so maybe this will just be our last question. Hi, Kelechi, can you just unmute and talk?
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you for the lecture so far. I have learned a lot as well. I'm grateful. Then I want to ask on the issue of expressing maybe you have a weakness or you have a strength or some strength you want to talk about when during an interview. You gave us an instance of how a lady answered about certain question. Now, okay, let's say I'm a kind of person. Say I'm working now, for example. When I was being interviewed, I let them know that I play ball and that's my hobby. And on Saturdays, this is the period I do my sports in the morning, and coming to work on Saturday is going to be this and but from this time and this time, and they accepted. But later on, now they are now turning it aside that such things were not discussed, but I know we discussed it. Then another thing is that I'm a kind of person that more. I work more when I use music to work. So I use music to work, and it's one of, I would like to say, weakness or strength. So expressing some of these things during interview, is it necessary?
Okay. You recall I mentioned about cultural fit. That cultural fit is aligning yourself with the culture of the organization. If you ask yourself what is the culture of the organization, not every organization will tolerate, play music because in their own thinking that you are not concentrating, you are distracting yourself and perhaps others. That could be it. Usually, when you are being asked in an interview that what are your strengths and weaknesses, if you mention weaknesses that they believe you cannot surmount, or you are not doing anything about it to overcome it, they'll be afraid to hire you because Nobody want to hire somebody that you know is going to be a problem, and you go ahead to hire that person. You know, like the other time you were hired, I think it could just be their own strategy that just come on, they have led you to the middle of the river, and they now come and say, this is not our culture. And they know at that point, you have already stabilized your income potential with the salary you earn there. Would you want to quit? It will give you lot of inconveniences. So you have no choice than to adjust to their this and that. That was why they told you they are not aware. You know, sometimes employers can be also very funny. They can be very, very diplomatic. Maybe at that time they need somebody urgently or desperately, and you meant other things. The other problem they have is that you are telling them that you have a habit that you are not even working on. That is something that you're going to live with, and the organization want to hear that. They will avoid it. They will avoid it. If you mention you have a weakness, they want to hear that, okay, it's a weakness, but I'm almost overcoming it and working on it. I have realized it's part of the self-awareness we talked about. And so in no distant time, I think it's something I put behind me. Yes, they can embrace us. But a weakness that is going to be endemic, remain part and parcel with you. No employer want to take that risk. They know it's going to be a big issue in future, in the near future. They will not. It's not something anybody want to gamble with. And so whenever they ask you of your strengths and weaknesses, let the weaknesses not be the one that is endemic, that you cannot overcome. You just have to live with it. You can't help it. It means those kind of behavior is not something that maybe that is one of such. Some of them may be hidden. So it's not something they want to. Some of them could stylishly start hunting for your replacement and watching if, in case you don't accept their condition, they push you out and they talk this thing. They are all intrigues employers use, just as job seekers have intrigues. Employers have their own intrigues. It's all dog eat dog kind of situation. They don't want their business to suffer, any bit. You also want to be yourself. But weaknesses, when a question is asked, what are your strengths and your weaknesses? Your strength is to enable them know your potentials. Your weaknesses is to also to enable them know if you are not going to be a liability, a major problem they can't really, stand up with. So if it's something that you say you are just, you are being that problem, that is me, there are some people who say, that's why they take talk. The person is talking and shouting and considering nuisance here and there. And you say, that's why they take talk. You expect somebody to accept that. You should be seen to be working on it in order to refine that aspect of your character. But to say the other party should accept it for what it is, you have no choice. It's just, even if they accept it for a time, they'll push you out someday, the day they get a better placement or a better person. So it is your responsibility. Every weakness has the capacity of being changed or improved upon. So it cannot just be a weakness that will remain the same forever. So when you paint a picture that your weakness will continue to be the way it has been, then forget it. They will not, even if they take you now, they'll push you out later. The day they get a better person, they stylishly push you out because it's not part of their cultural fit. Every organization has a culture, and the culture is what helps them to achieve their objective. When you have certain the way of getting things done, you don't exert much effort. It just comes naturally. But if you don't have that cultural fit, you struggle everything, to do. So you have to be careful when you are bringing out your weaknesses. Let it be weaknesses you are already working on, that you are improving. Yeah, I like the truth being said. Don't lie about it, but really see yourself as truly working on such weakness. Everybody has it. But you see that some people are able to surmount and really work on themselves, especially if you are the type that has this emotional intelligence. There are things you can really able to be in control of, and people will not even feel it's an issue. So that's my advice.
Okay, sir.
Thank you
Thank you.
very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We really appreciate you spending this amount of time talking to us and educating us on the things we need to know. And we look forward to continuing tomorrow as we tackle the actual questions we were expecting in the interview. So we know what to say when they ask us to tell us about ourselves. So we know what to say in some of the questions that were posed during the interview. And we just want to say thank you very much, sir. We look forward to tomorrow's session. And we really appreciate you, sir. We are really grateful. Okay.
Thank you very much.
I'll be handing over to James. Maybe if he had anything to say to us before we close for the day, because we're already fast spent. Hi, James.
Thank you very much once again, everyone. Thank you very much, sir, for the calculation. Staying up with us to this time. Thank you so much for your time. God bless you so much. We love you, and everyone for attending. I think we just pray to close right away. I want to apologize that we stayed. This time we try to stay within time tomorrow. And thank you so much once again.
Thank you.
Jesus' name. I will thank you for this meeting. We are so good that we have learned. Help us to maximize these lessons in the name of Jesus. As we go towards the lessons we've learned, all the skills that have been taught, we not just hear them, but we see them to use, and they will make us 10 times better in our careers in the name of Jesus. In Jesus' name we are prayed. Amen.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Have a lovely night. We've come to the end of our session. Have a lovely night.
I'm not helpless. 7 eyes. You're welcome. One more time. Yeah. I'm not helpless. 7 eyes. You are welcome. One last time. Hey! I'm not helpless. 7 eyes. You are welcome. My deliverer is not asleep. I'm not helpless, I don't fall. 7 eyes. You are welcome. My deliverer. Mean what you are saying. 7 eyes, 7 wings, 7 scrolls. You are welcome, O Breaker. Hey, I'm not helpless, so. I'm not helpless, I don't walk alone. 7 eyes, 7 wings, 7 scrolls. You are welcome. Your hands, pa, pa, pa. Follow the beat. Follow the beat. Yeah, shout it out. Oh. I'm not helpless. Do you believe it? You are welcome. My deliverer, my deliverer is not asleep. I'm not helpless. I'm not helpless. I don't walk alone. 7 eyes. 7 eyes. You are welcome. You are welcome. My deliverer. My deliverer is not asleep. I'm not helpless. I'm not helpless. I don't walk alone. 7 eyes. 7 wings, 7 scrolls. You are welcome. You are welcome, O Breaker. Yeah. Cha. 7 eyes. Ordinada. Instance Viviane. E Guntidua Manela. I'm not helpless. I'm not helpless. I don't walk alone. 7 eyes. 7 wings, 7 scrolls. You are welcome. You are welcome, O Breaker. My deliverer. Is not asleep. I'm not helpless. I'm not helpless. I don't walk alone. 7 eyes. 7 wings, 7 scrolls. You are welcome. You are welcome, O Breaker in faith. I am not surrounded. I am not alone. There are many who dance with me. Hey, I'm surrounded. I am not alone. There are many who dance with. I'm surrounded. I am not alone. There are many who dance with me. I'm surrounded. I am not alone. There are many who dance with me. I'm surrounded. I am not alone. There are many who dance with me. I'm surrounded. I am not alone. There are many who dance with me. There are many There are many I'm surrounded. I'm surrounded. He never sleeps, he never slumbers.
Thank you very much. Good night, everyone.
Thank you so much, Elo. Good night.